Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you're receiving me loud and clear, whatever part of the country you happen to be in this morning. Colin Regan is my name, the GAA Community and Health Manager. I would know most of you at this stage, I think. And we're here this morning for a virtual recognition and celebration of the Dermot Early Youth Leadership Initiative 2019-2020, acknowledging and celebrating the great work of all our participants, 120 participants across the 6 counties and the 16 tutors that have been supporting you on your journey so far in terms of the completion of modules 1 and 2, and for the vast majority of you who are going on to complete module 3. We'll be touching on how obviously the circumstances are going to have a significant influence on how you choose to implement your community action projects, but working with our great partners Foróige and NUIG, we know that there has been a lot of flexibility built in to consider the circumstances of COVID-19, and we just firstly acknowledge all the leadership that you have been showing in your own clubs and counties at this year time, and say thanks a million for that. So I think all of us would have loved to have been gathering in Croke Park this morning. This time last year there was about 300 people getting together, and we really look forward to the opportunity when we can gather together as clubs and counties and an association to celebrate all elements of the GAA, and in particular at this stage the work of the Dermot Early Youth Leadership Initiative. So just to get the ball rolling, before I run through the full agenda, and we have a little video here that we're going to, please God, technology will allow us to play to remind us about the great man himself and the inspiration of the Dermot Early Youth Leadership Initiative. So roll it there, Aoife.
He would always look you in the eye, but he'd never look at your rank. It was the man in the uniform he was talking to, not the rank.
Dermot Early agus éfhuileán seoil ar rúchar well ba roiar cínta ché agus I gcónaí ba roiar é sin na sprág luch leanúna Roscommon.
Nuair a bhásaí ceannfórna na bhórsaí cosanta Dermot Early na mínathe ó thábhíl sa de, bhí peladóir, saidúir agus léach Roscommon ar lór. Thosaigh scéal Dermot Early I muo sa bhíon 1988.
Rugam é coslan amhara I Condueo. Bhí maithar mar múnseoir scala as leathardán Condueo agus móthar ó coslan amhara. Bhí maithar na múnseoir scala I Westport agus I coslan amhara freisin agus rugam é coslan amhara. Tar éis tar bliana chuaigh maithar mar príomh múnseoir scoil náisiúnta I Roscommon agus tógam é I Roscommon ar sinamá.
Nach raibh an táil le Roscommon nó an míall le muoch ná ranna de le gaiisteáin na bhairlig.
Sprág Dermot Early grád a chuirsaí sport ina chuid páistí agus a chuir sé cóirle ar Dermot Óg maidir lena chuid pelle.
Starting from when I was 14, he would have went to as many matches as possible. He was always in the stand, and after matches he would always say, you know, well done, but just a couple of things. When he went and analysed the game and how I played, you know, he was always right.
Dimmer Dermot Early a chuid pelle le club of Vonnig Ahir, club Mighty Glavies in Morton Hanef. Níor a bhada go raibh níomhéad ar an Roscommon.
One of the first times I saw Dermot was in a dressing room for a club match at home. It was just his sheer physique. It was a time pre-gym, pre-weights, but Dermot had a natural physique that kind of, you just had to stand back and admire. He had terrific legs, terrific upper body, and that stood him apart before we even went out on the field.
Bhí nachtán, bhí skillan in na pelle go maiche. Déach a chéine drodíon, más féidir gaisce mórí anna benob, sé dír marí anna dúne.
Dermot Early to take this lead. And it's over the bar.
Young guys friends would tell you that he was a father figure to them and always encouraged them and gave them a little welcome and a little chat in the dressing room and said, "You'll be fine."
John O'Gara, all Roscommon now. John O'Gara still going right through. Out now to Dermot Early, and shot it
Without saying a lot, you always felt very secure that he was there to back you up and to be with you.
Dermot Early. Ruig Roscommon craobh connachta in 1972 agus ceithre cína sa chéile idir 1977 agus 1980.
Mar swinny mar Dermot Early mar imroir an picture atá magnan an fear mór cumasach seo agus gáil san éir an graimeáil an Belsin.
Dermot Early, outstanding fielding once again.
Agus an sin beidir an jaartan an tráha tríd na tackles ví techt agus déanamh slíos de rúthar agus fiú an sin na kicking na séire ó 2 méadar amach agus ag seola ar an trasnán.
He really was one of the great players of all time, I believe. I witnessed him many, many times basically lifting the team and Roscommon winning games that were to a large extent down to his magnificence, to his effort and his courage.
But the connacht na 1978. We had Dermot Early, Loich na himar an láise.
Dermot Early and Billy Joyce.
Agus harenta feidir mar séirí agus dóilem go binne an ceann a heasa sa bacha mo chuoine. Nuair a thug gaile faoi Roscommon is an dála le. Sé Dermot Early heasa me orna.
Dermot Early with the point, and my lord, he really deserved it. What an outstanding match Early has played and capped it all with a great point there. Ruig Dermot Early gradam All-Star in 1974 agus in 1979. Pelidor ilte skiliúil déanta.
Hij teach an páirce nó sa heid teach an go déibre. Néta, war, láionnta gruige, gon ribes áit. Bheith sad ar bhealach ar cinnear a bhí an bhíon bhuairgat seo banclis os a marseáil himpeall na páirce os a gcuí siúlaite na baclis a gcuí riche teann mé ar a teir níorthóid.
Dermot would come and he'd have socks. I don't know where the ironed, but they certainly looked like they were ironed to us. And he would leave them out on the seat beside him. After a game, he cleaned his boots and left them ready for the next training session, which inevitably with Dermot was probably the day after anyway, but he was totally organised from that point of view.
Dine úntacha bhí ann agus dine bra le casa leis siúir an óir an éair. Bhí grán a buint leis agus láithreach séad na claithí, láithreach séad a gcuoine á chuún dé héile, níor bhéin expa cainte riomhad ná cáirde sa chéad.
He was in Cavan and an elderly gentleman came up to him and tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Are you Dermot Early?" And he kind of said, he looked and smiled and said, "Yes, I am." And the elderly gentleman said, you were a great player. And as he turned around, he felt, very chuffed that he was recognised and felt good about himself. And as his mind kind of wandered, he got another tap on the shoulder, turned around and it was the same gentleman and he said, "But you could kick the wides too," so, and he loved telling that yarn and he got a great kick out of it.
I wouldn't like to be one of the guys with small hands because he really crunched the hand. People would slag him about his handshake, that it came from so far down, but it was a genuine handshake with Dermot.
Agus ag déanamh a bhealach na fórsaí cosanta, bhí measa cách ar an saidúr as Roscommon.
If he was a lieutenant, he was Dermot Early. If he was a captain, commandant, lieutenant colonel, general, he was still Dermot Early. And he did command the respect of all that he met.
Dus yn edrych Dermot Early haar jaar mar haidúr agus cuairmí downdair word nhw go agus a réitiocht sos córic hís in Angola. Bhí Dermot Early daire sé an cuairm sin, bhí sé an anna go cuairm sin céimfá mar bhí sé óbhaith agus réití le nai.
Is omí sealacha Dermot Early agus Aram na Héireann ar dúil go síochánaíochta faoi Scána Náisiúnta, san Afric agus a Bhean Idir.
In a few days' time, I'll be heading for South Lebanon with the 81st Infantry Battalion on a tour of peacekeeping duty. This will be my 4th mission with the United Nations, and come November, I'll have completed almost 7 years of peacekeeping operations.
he could mix with the highest, the president, the Taoiseach, no problem for him to be standing beside him down at, on Easter Sunday or whatever, or up in the Royal Hospital, and he could have the laws private, and he made it his business to make sure he went and he met them all, and everybody could relate to him, and that was a fantastic asset to have.
Is it again if he side your as na forsi cosanta nach ra eine Soul no percentage Dermot earlier. Now if you shan in the California, you oche beri of grass side your shingle bedi the marshal trach no rute kindjes hook Dermot earlier get mark California of scratch chalo aggression side your shingle agus lach cha buiches slash my all er nobody vi sha yana a could iwa no worsi cosanta in Kenya goni.
John O'Gara, all what's coming now. John O'Gara still going through, going right through. Out now to Dermot Early, it's shot and a goal!
Well, I can't think of a better way to start the day, and what a fantastic tribute to Dermot, and really captures what this program is all about, and why we're doing it, and why we're trying to, through our partners with Veroiga, NUIG, and the special partnership with the Early Family, why we're trying to ensure that the next generation get the opportunity to tap into that well of values and leadership that Dermot demonstrated across all facets of his life. Today's agenda, we're going to includes, we're going to have a quick word briefly from An Uachtar Common Class Scale, John Horn. We'll be going over then to Dave O'Reilly, the National Chairperson with Veroiga. We're going to be chatting to a few participants in the current phase of the Dermot Early Youth Leadership Initiative, Emer, Theo and Rose. We'll be having a brief, just as I said, online awarding of the certificates for the completions of modules 1 and 2. We have a past participant then joining us, Orla O'Sullivan, who is working on the front line at the moment, actually, in terms of COVID-19. I was going to be talking to us a little bit about how the leadership skills she developed during her participation in the initiative has stood her in good stead during these very challenging times, and we'll be having a little chat with Anne-Marie Early as well. The ordering of this might switch up a little bit, as we're just having a little bit of technical difficulties getting a couple of the participants on, Emer, Theo and Rose, so we might come to Anne-Marie a little bit earlier than we had planned in the agenda, but we'll play it by ear, as we said. But without further ado, we're going over to a special bunker in Croke Park, where John Horn has been holed up for the last 8 weeks. John, I think that the lockdown must have affected you. I can't imagine there was too many with a broader and wider ranging travel schedule than yourself pre-lockdown. How have you been adjusting?
Yeah, no, it's kind of very much been like as if you have a shackle around you and holding you back in base, because the week the lockdown started, I had to pull out of a trip to Abu Dhabi, and obviously a lot of trips throughout Ireland, and then one later in the year, obviously committed to going to see the Australasian Games in New Zealand. And I suppose it's an awful pity I didn't get out to New Zealand before all this happened, because it seems to be the safest rock in the world to be actually living on at the moment. But that's where we are. We're here actually in a bunker in Glasnevin, right under the shadow of Croke Park. I think as people saw, I stayed within the 2 kilometre limit to actually do an interview outside Croke Park with Marty one evening. But look, you know, it's a tough time on us all, but I think one thing, us, the JA as an organisation, have come through it very well.
Absolutely, and I think, you know, the leadership that has been shown right across the clubs with the survey results we released last week, 20,000 GA volunteers supporting 35,000 vulnerable people across our communities, and the next generation of leaders within the association are on their journey through this initiative, John.
Absolutely, like, and I know we've always said we were a community-based organisation, but it's amazing, like, we parked the games for this period of time and certainly became that community-based organisation. And just this week alone, making a number of phone calls to different people who had lost close relatives in recent times, and the one message that they came was the support from the GAA community in terms of lining the road when the actual remains of their beloved one was actually being brought to the church and brought to the actual cemetery. Just was the one thing that struck them through it all, that they rallied around. I was talking to a chap from, his brother died in Oughterard. He said everybody, even up to 70 and 80 years of age, lined a mile and a half of the road wearing the club colours. The same down in Leitrim in your own county, Colin. PJ Meehan suddenly lost his nephew, 37 years of age, and he said the 5 GAA clubs that surrounded his club all joined together to support. So, even through tough times, the GAA do come through and do support our own. Yeah.
And John, I suppose, you've had an incredible leadership journey yourself. You've held almost every possible role, working your way up through club, county, province, and national now. Looking back on that, is there anything that you would that stands out in terms of advice to the young leaders on the course at the moment?
Yeah, it's quite amazing. Look, my journey in leadership probably started when I was a teenager, when I was a member of an organisation called the Irish Red Cross, and I spent 20 years working there as a volunteer, and a varying different roles there. But like simple little tasks that you got as a teenager there still stood to you. But one key thing, and I think it fits in very strongly with Dermot Early and the message you got in the video clip there from Dermot, was, you learned one thing, and that was respect. The word respect, I think, if you have it in your head and you use it when you're dealing with people, I think you will become a very successful leader. It's always a challenge to yourself to make sure you do respect people and how you deal with them. And I think Dermot always respected anyone in the Defence Force of rank, as I think John Courtney said there in the clip, didn't count for anything with Dermot Early. You were a person and he saw you as a person. The same in the dressing room. I think he saw any young player coming in as an equal, not as a junior in the room, and again treated them and encouraged them and gave them the respect as being just a member of an actual team. And I think if you keep that, how you deal with people and how you carry yourself, that's one thing definitely would stand to you. From my present role as president of the GAA, I would certainly say I've learned one great message, and that is, behave as if you're a sponge and not a rock. In other words, what I'm saying is always be prepared to learn new things about leadership and not be kind of closed to them. And I think we can all learn that. And I'm even learning in my present role as president of, how you fill the role and how you do it. And like, I give one key message is, don't issue a press release on a Friday evening. Don't give bad news on a Friday evening. It's a lot easier to deal with those things on a Monday morning when there's a period of time, people are fresh and you can move through the week. But don't do things when you're tired, when you're in a leadership position. I filled the role as a school principal, and I had a concern taken on the role at the beginning that I wouldn't delegate and that I would keep it all on my own shoulders. And I felt that that would actually drag me down. And funny enough, the one thing I did do when I got into the job was to delegate. And I think if anyone's in a leadership role, I think it will always improve your outcomes and your own performance if you actually delegate and encourage other people to be part of your actual team, to be doing that leadership job. And that was the one key thing at the end I found when I was leaving the school, the amount of younger people that I'd actually given jobs to on the staff and that they had actually come through. And I think our own membership will have learned a lot. I mean, it's the young people within the organisation predominantly that are out and about doing the deliveries and whatnot. That in itself will give them a self-confidence. It will give them an improved thing about relationships, and I think organisation as well. And in its own way, will subconsciously actually improve their own thinking and their own views on how they deal with things and how they perform leadership. But I think if I was to give one key thing out of it all is it's relationships and respect of other people. It doesn't matter if you have 600 points. It doesn't matter if you have a master's, a PhD or anything like that. If you can't be a person that's open and form relationships with people, well, then you will struggle to get through in terms of good leadership roles. So relationships, I think, are very, very important. But I'd still go back to that key word that I said at the beginning in terms of Dermot Early, respect. If you carry that as your challenge, you won't go very far wrong.
Sean, that's a brilliant tee up again for the rest of the session. And I know even in these times how incredibly busy hour, so thanks so much for joining us this morning. And I know you have a few other things on today, so you may have to jump off before we get to the end of the day. But thanks so much, John, coming up, Class Gael, John.
No problem. Colin, can I just to conclude? Can I thank Feroiga and NUIG for their help? Thank the Early family for their continued support of the programme, but in particular, thank yourself, Blonit and Aoife, for the work that you've done in driving this programme for us. I think it's a great initiative for our organisation. Guramahaguv.
Thank you very much, John. So, folks, without further ado, I'm going to bring us over to Dave O'Reilly now, National Chairperson of the Feroiga National Youth Organisation, Youth Development Organisation. We've been very fortunate to have a long-standing relationship with Feroiga now, starting with the Dermot Early Youth Leadership Initiative, but has branched out into many other fruitful areas of collaboration with the GAA as well. And just obviously to acknowledge Sean Campbell as the CEO, and Sarah Haslan and Brian Gavin that do such Trojan work with us on an ongoing basis in bringing the Dermot Early Youth Leadership Initiative to fruition. So, Dave, just from your own perspective, just we're delighted to have you here representing Feroiga this morning. So the floor is yours.
Colin, thank you so much for that lovely introduction, indeed. And again, I'd like to echo the words of John and yourself there, in thanking everyone for their participation within the programme. I really am happy to have this opportunity to see you all here today. It is such a pity that we can't be together in person, but hopefully further down the line, we'll get that opportunity in the future. I've had the opportunity of looking over some of the work, and I'm very impressed with the work and the passion and commitment throughout the leadership journey of all the young people. And in particular, like over the last couple of months, we've had to move the programme online, and they really have risen to the challenge and shown great resilience, aptitude and creativity and ability to finish the programme. I also would like to echo John's words and saying a big thank you to the GAA, to the Early family, NUI Galway, and to all the volunteers who have facilitated the programme for the support and their commitment to the partnership of Feroiga and the GAA. We're very proud of the partnership and the programme. So to round up, I'd just like to say, to all you, please stay well, stay safe, and don't forget to use your leadership skills that you developed over the last couple of weeks, to help out your communities, your clubs, your family, and your friends. So again, just thank you all very much for everything, and congratulations, and enjoy your big day.
Dave, thank you very much. Really appreciate you joining us this morning as well. And
my pleasure.
We know that a lot of the participants, everybody, I suppose, this year's situation brings a level of anxiety and uncertainty to everything, and just to reassure all the participants that as they work, those who are continuing into Module 3, Brian has sent out detailed instructions to reassure you that there's going to be great flexibility brought to how Module 3 is completed, and that there's support for them all along the way. Dave, we'll be hearing from some of the participants now in a minute or two.
I'm looking forward to that. Thank you, Colin.
Thanks again, John. So I'm hoping now that we have online Emer. If I can go across to Emer, I think we have Emer joining us at the moment here, and I'm going to have Emer's going to talk to us a little bit about her own experience on the Dermot Early Youth Leadership Initiative. Emer, can I pick you up? Have I got you online there? Maybe not. Emer from Letterkenny Gaels. No, maybe not. So I'm going to try, hopefully. So have we got Theo there? They're muted, I think, is the problem. Sorry for the slight technical glitch, folks. So just going to go down here and see who we have online. I know we have two of them here because I can see their numbers below me. So if we have either Emer, Theo, or Rose online, if you could just unmute your mics. No, I think we're good.
Hello.
Yes, hi. Who have we got?
Emer Ní Wheel.
Emer, how are you? Emer, you're joining us from Letterkenny.
Yeah.
I think my colleague Aoife is just going to put up, we have a Holden slide there, and Aoife is going to share so everybody can get add the face to the voice, Emer. So tell us, Emer, you have a little bit of something prepared just to talk to everybody that's out there this morning about your own journey, and maybe tell us a little bit about who you are, your club, and your involvement in the GAA, just to get things rolling.
Okay, so I play camogie with Letterkenny Gaels GAA in Letterkenny here. Yeah.
And what school are you in down there or up there?
I'm in Costa Alley, Letterkenny.
Very good, very good. And how did you hear about the Dermot Early Youth Leadership Initiative, and how did you get involved?
A few members of my club had done it already, and they really enjoyed it. So when I had the opportunity to do it, I decided it'd be worth it.
Great. And are you in TY at the moment, or what stage are you at the schooling?
Yes, so I'm in TY now.
TY. So you're managing the lockdown okay, I hope.
Yeah, it's not too stressful, thank goodness.
Good, good. Well, Emer, tell us a wee bit about your own experiences.
Okay, so I completed the Dermot Early Youth Leadership Initiative in Donegal under the brilliant guidance of Jolene and Jennifer. I thoroughly enjoyed my time on the programme, and I learned a lot as a result of completing it. Looking back now, I think the biggest thing I took from it was I became a lot more confident in myself. I know that before this programme, I would never have volunteered to do a speech like this.
No, I'm just looking at my laptop, my iPad, I have it here. I couldn't find it.
Sorry, we're just getting across there. Fire ahead again.
So, do you want me to continue?
Yeah, please, Emer. Sorry, we just had a bit of mic interference there. You said you would never have even thought of doing a presentation like this before.
No, I'd never have done something like this. In fact, it would have been my worst nightmare, in fact. However, the emphasis on public speaking, particularly in Module 2, that really pushed me to become more confident and even enjoy doing things like this, something that really wasn't unimaginable to me before the programme. I think all of us in the programme in Donegal would have agreed that the games and activities we did as part of Module 1 were particularly enjoyable. However, personally, I really enjoyed completing my community action project in Module 3, as I got a chance to use the leadership skills I'd learned in the real world, and it showed me really how much I'd learned from the programme. I think the skills that I learned at this programme will also really stand to me both now and in the future. I plan to continue coaching camogie in my local GAA club, and the skills that I learned at the programme will be invaluable for this. However, I also think that certain skills such as teamwork, communication skills, public speaking, and of course leadership skills will be completely transferable in many aspects of my life in the future, both in education and in future careers. The skills I learned at the programme also helped me overcome the current unprecedented situation with COVID-19. The problem-solving skills I learned during the programme became essential when COVID-19 actually threatened to prevent me from completing my community action project. On March 12th, when the GAA suspended all activities as a result of COVID-19, I had not yet completed all of the hours I'd planned to spend coaching camogie as part of my project, and this left me unsure as to how I was going to complete it. However, the problem-solving skills I learned from the programme helped me overcome this and find a solution, and I can gladly say that as a result of utilising these skills, I did manage to complete my project on time. Overall, I'm so happy that I chose to take part in the Dermot Early Youth Leadership Initiative, and I most definitely recommend the programme to others, as I know that I've come away from it with a range of new skills and invaluable experiences.
Emer, that's fantastic. What age group were you coaching with the camogie?
It's kind of the camogie in the club is really small, so it was everywhere from under 8 to under 12.
Fantastic, fantastic. And so then you just noted how you had to adapt quite quickly once the restrictions came in. How did you get around that, or what contingency plan did you put in place?
So I started making videos and wee guides to help the players to practice their skills while they're at home.
Fantastic. You're obviously a lot more comfortable with the technical side of things here. I'm absolutely petrified on this here this morning that I'm going to press something and the whole thing collapses and stops. So congratulations and well done on that. Even really enjoyed that contribution, and thanks so much for your time this morning. Okay, so we're going to head over now to Theo. Theo Kavanagh is from the Kilcullen Club out in Kildare. Theo, hopefully you're receiving us loud and clear. You might just check that you're. Let's see. We might have to unmute you here. Is that Theo? Hi, Theo. No. Maybe you're having a slight problem connecting with Theo at the moment. So maybe we'll come back to Theo. We'll go on to Rose. Are you out there at the moment? I feel like clairvoyant here. Trying to. There, Rose, can you hear me?
Hi, yeah, I'm here.
Great, Rose. You're joining us from St Enda's up in Antrim, I believe.
Yeah.
How is everything up that neck of the woods?
Good. Everything's going along fine.
So tell us a wee bit about your lockdown situation. Who's in the family, and tell us a little bit about your own GA background as well.
Well, we've been locked down since March, and I'm at home just with my mum and dad and my brother. We're getting along fine. We're missing playing Gaelic football so much, but I started playing Gaelic football at 4, so this is probably the longest time I've spent without it since then.
You're missing it? Are you? Is the brother? Yeah. Are you playing away, keeping the skills up?
Yeah. Doing a lot of different challenges and stuff that the club has set.
Very good. And Rose, tell us, how did you hear about the Dermot Early Youth Leadership Initiative, and what was your entry into it?
I heard about it from other people in my club because they had undertaken it and they had got loads of different opportunities from it. And I just thought that I needed it for my future ambitions. Brilliant.
And what stage are you at in terms of second level education now? Where's your journey?
I'm going into upper 6 now, so that's the last year up here.
Very good. A big year.
I'll be going into uni. Yeah.
And what have you got your sights on?
I want to go into medicine, hopefully.
Fantastic.
Become a pediatrician.
Wow, brilliant. Well, I know you've prepared a little bit for everybody this morning as well, Rose, so at your own time.
Thank you. Well, good morning. I'm Rose Sherlock from Nivena, Glengormley in County Antrim, and I'm going to speak about my experience as a participant of the Dermot Early Youth Leadership Initiative 2020. I applied to the initiative after I heard about the amazing opportunities it provided for past participants in my club and county. However, I couldn't even begin to comprehend how much I would gain and develop. On starting Module 1, I was a relatively shy girl with a lack of confidence and no self-esteem. The skills that we focused on, such as continuous self-reflection, pushed me far out of my comfort zone and taught me the vital lesson that we are our own worst critics. With this newfound knowledge, each session I grew in confidence and was even able to complete the public speaking activities we were set, which would have been extremely challenging for me prior to Module 1. During Module 2, to assist us with our research projects, we took part in impromptu debating, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I learned the importance of clear communication, organisation, and confidence within leadership roles through arguing my point of view in a formal manner. As part of a smaller group, the research project taught me how to lead as part of a team and highlighted the importance of the friendship and trust we had forged throughout the programme in the success of our team. Due to recent events, our research had to be delivered over Zoom, which was a learning curve for all of us, to say the least. However, the programme had already equipped us with the resilience and versatility that allowed us to overcome all technical problems and deliver our presentation successfully. The programme has been challenging, yet extremely rewarding, and has pushed me to be a better person and leader. The initiative has equipped me with the confidence that I need to pursue my future ambition of becoming a pediatrician, and I've acquired key leadership strategies such as goal setting, self-awareness, and the ability to solve problems that I am confident I will use in future leadership roles and within the professional world. I've developed skills, forged friendships, and made memories that I will cherish for the rest of my life, and for that I am forever grateful. It is an endorsement of this programme that no matter what the participants think they will accomplish,
they will undoubtedly achieve even more. Thank you.
Wow, Rose, fantastic, absolutely brilliant stuff there. So if I was to ask you, I don't mean to put you on the spot, if you were to look back on the Rose that started the program and is finishing it now, what would you say maybe is the one biggest thing that you've taken from it, or the one biggest change you've seen in yourself? No, I think maybe I've lost Rose there already. No, not to worry, not to worry. Rose, thank you so much again. Brilliant testimony there, and wishing you every success in your in the goals that the wonderful goals that you've set for yourself, and I've no doubt that you'll be having no problem achieving them. So we're going to try again now. So hopefully Theo out in Kildare is on the line here now. Theo, can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can indeed, loud and clear. Theo, great to have you. How are you doing this morning?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
So Theo, you're a Kilcullen man?
Yeah.
Or club man anyway. Is that the home as well?
Yeah, I live in Kilcullen here.
Great stuff. So Theo, maybe just tell us a wee bit about your own GA background, how long you've been involved with the club, and how did you hear about the project, and what prompted you to get involved?
Well, I've playing in clubs since little kid, like as early as I can remember. I think my parents are very into the sport, so they want to get me and my brothers into it very early age, and playing ever since. And I first heard about the Dermot Early course. My mom got an email from one of my former coaches who told her that he thought I'd be a great fit for the course.
Brilliant, brilliant. And you mentioned great stuff. And you mentioned is there a few brothers in the house there? Many of you are in practicing social distancing there, and how is that going down?
Yeah, well, we're all just kind of holed up in the house at the moment, just only going out for exercise and go shopping, but that's about it for us.
And you're keeping the skills up, are you, and a bit of exercise?
Yeah.
And Theo, you've prepared a little piece for us this morning just about your own journey on the program. So take it away at your own time.
Yeah. I think the best thing about the Dermot Early course for me was not just the leadership skills or the loads of stuff that you learn about yourself during the course. It was the new friends that you make along the way. And because I remember on the first day of Module 1, I only knew 2 people. And when I came in, they were the only people that I talked to. And, you'd be quite nervous to go up to new people. But eventually we were forced to make small talk with the other lads and girls in the course. And by break time, we were all fast friends. And since then, I consider myself very close with some of the people in my course. And I really appreciate Dermot Early for this, as it gave me, and I'm sure many others, the chance to make friends outside of our own clubs, which would be a rare opportunity. And now I'm always excited for every session and every event with my course mates. During the course, I learned so much about myself and gained a big confidence boost upon completion of Module 1. The mentors are always very kind and helpful, and they really help make it a safe and fun experience. I am very grateful for the course during quarantine, as I don't have much to do, so I'm always looking forward to the next session. Thanks to this course, I have a better idea of how to handle certain situations in school, football, and in my social life. So I now know that you lead through listening to others, not telling others what to do. I've also learned that trying to please people will not always work. I need to be fair, treat people equally, and do just as much work by myself as everyone else. Leading doesn't always mean being out front and center. It means getting others to want to help because they know that I think their ideas are valuable and they're important. So I might have to be more of a guide on the side, but that's okay. It's not about me, it's about getting the job done. And I will always look back fondly on my Dermot Early experience and will continue to show the qualities expressed by Dermot Early every day.
Fantastic, Theo. That's wisdom beyond your years there, without a doubt. I wish I had those kinds of insights at your age. And Theo, what stage are you at in secondary school? Are you in TY?
Yeah, I'm in transition year now at the moment. Yeah.
And have you any particular area of interest that you're setting your eyes on, or keeping the options open at this stage?
I'm kind of just keeping the options open. Not really sure what I want to do.
Well, that was definitely how I was back at your age too. So, listen, Theo, thanks so much for that brilliant contribution. Delighted to hear that everything's going well out there, and that you've adjusted to life within the restrictions as best as can possibly be expected, and that just sounds like you've had a really brilliant journey through the Dermot Early to date. So thanks a million for your contribution this morning.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
So I just want, obviously, those journeys couldn't have happened without the 16 tutors that have been guiding our 120 participants all along the way. And I just want to say a quick shout out to Kevin, Philip, Nick, Paul, Anthony, Colette, Seamus, Howard, James, Jennifer, Jolene, Barney, Fra, Roisin, Kira and Jane, and hopefully I haven't missed anybody there. So just to give a big thanks to all the tutors. You really put in such a huge amount of work, both GA and Froiga volunteers that have very busy schedules anyway, but I know from my own experience as a tutor in phase 1 of this out in Kildare, there was a few times on a Friday evening I was lugging my bones out and I was kind of saying I really need to learn to say no more often. But then at the end of it, coming back in, I was like, that was the highlight of my week. So hopefully that's the continued experience of our tutors, and just a huge thank you to our partners down in NUIG and for delivering of the tutor training, supported by Froiga with the 2-day session here in Croke Park as well. And now, as I said, we're going to I'm not actually quite sure exactly what you guys can see right now, but I think Aoife has the presentation slide ready to roll here. I'm hoping you're not getting too much of a close-up of the home haircut that I underwent with my 2.5-year-old last weekend. But I know, Aoife, I'll actually get you to stick up this. I think I have it here now myself. Share the slide. So this was always one of my favourite parts of the gathering in Croke Park, because we used to get to see Sean Campbell, Froiga CEO, and Professor Pat Dolan in their fineries and their gowns when they were making the presentations to our participants who had completed modules 1 and 2. You'll see the type of certificate up there. I think nearly everybody should have received this in the post to date, and if you haven't, then Blanad will be getting one. Blanad and Brian will be getting those out to you, and obviously quite a few of you are continuing on your leadership journey into module 3. And a number of you have that completed already, even within the circumstances, which is incredible innovation, and that's another facet of your leadership journey, of course. But so it's just a ceremonial awarding of these certificates today, obviously, and congratulations to you all on the journey that you've done in getting this far and your continued journey as well, and a big thanks to Froiga for being on NUIG and their flexibility around adapting the module 3 in particular to the circumstances in which we're operating. And as I said at the start, Brian sent out detailed instructions to assuage any fears that you might have, and reassuring you that we're here to work with you around the completion of module 3 in whatever capacity works best for you. So now we're going to jump over. We have a past participant on, Orla O'Sullivan. I'm hoping, Orla, that you can hear me loud and clear, and that you'll be able to join me for a quick conversation about where the Dermot Early Youth Leadership Initiative has brought you to date, and what you're currently at. Orla, can you hear me? No, maybe not. Orla?
Morning.
Morning, Orla. You're a little bit faint there. Can you can you try again there to see how
Can you hear me any better now?
That's perfect, Orla. Loud and clear. Orla, where are you joining us from this morning?
I'm joining you from my house in Glenageary in Dublin.
Very good, and all well out there, I hope.
Oh, well, just finished work for the night, so just got home there about an hour ago.
So, Orla, tell everybody a little bit about what work entails for you at the moment. You're on the front line.
I am a student nurse. I am working currently as a care assistant in Vincent's Hospital 3 times a week, doing 12-hour shifts. So I go in every day. The nature of the job is I'm sent towards where they are short-staffed or the workload is very heavy. So at the moment, work is very intense. It's tough, and obviously there's a natural fear and anxiety at the moment, but it's at the same time, there's very positive work attitude going on in the hospital at the moment. Everyone is in the same situation, and it's just a very good vibe all around, as much as it could be.
Very good, and as you alluded to there, you've recently gone on the night shift, so you're literally joining us after a night on the ward.
I am, yeah.
Well, I hope you've got a good cup of coffee in your hand there, and thanks so much for making yourself available, because I know we just heard 3 brilliant testimonies of participants that are going through the journey at the moment. But as you look back now, how do you see your learnings from the Dermot Early Youth Leadership Initiative coming to life in your current role?
Well, at the beginning of all of this, it was very scary. We were told our placements were cancelled in the hospital and it was no longer going to be mandatory for us to work. Naturally, a lot of people in our course decided that was fine and they didn't really have any urge to help or to work. Myself, I kind of felt we had a responsibility to do as much as we could. We have the qualifications, so why not? So coming back to your question, I definitely was able to apply my leadership skills that I learned from the Dermot Early Youth Leadership course by first actually working, leading by example, like showing the girls that we're well able, and then secondly, trying to encourage the girls as much as possible to work. Definitely another thing that we focused on hugely the year that I participated was our communication skills, and I was definitely able to apply them in 2 ways in this situation. The first one being, chatting to the girls, encouraging them to work if possible if they were in a position to do so. But then secondly was also taking a step back and realizing that not everyone is in the same position as myself. Some people are not able to work at the moment. People are living at home with parents who may be that bit older or who may be in one of the risk group people. And of course, trying to understand that was a bit of a task, but definitely was able to get my head around that from my skills that I'd learned from Dermot Early.
Brilliant. And casting your eye back, how did you get involved in the project?
How did I get involved with Dermot Early? Kevin Spain, one of the facilitators at the time, the year that I did it, I think he's still very much so heavily involved, had emailed my mum. I've known Kevin for the majority of my life, I think since I was about 2 years of age, and he had emailed my mum saying he thought I'd be a good candidate for it. And so I applied from there, and I don't regret it at all. It was probably one of the best things that I could have done as a TY student. You have a lot of free time on your hands, and I definitely developed a lot as a young woman, and I could not recommend the course more.
Fantastic. And even obviously, we're also grateful for the work that you're doing at the moment on the front line for the country and for particularly those most vulnerable to COVID-19. When you settled on your Module 3 area of focus, I know again it was very much about reaching out and giving back to the community as well. Could you tell us a little bit about your work with Cross Care?
Yeah, so I did my community action project with Cross Care. I was based in one of their community cafes in Dublin city centre. The community cafe had a lot of different people coming in every day for discounted or free meals. These people were from many different backgrounds. Some were homeless, some were living off benefits alone, and some were just unable to cook due to illness or impairment. While I was here, I definitely enhanced my basic teamwork and communication skills that I had learned in Module 1 and 2 of Dermot Early. It was really a great opportunity to put what I had learned in Module 1 and 2 into practice and see was I up to the task. Teamwork was definitely amongst was definitely what I used teamwork was definitely a skill that I used, particularly amongst the other volunteers in the cafe, but I really found myself developing with my communication skills by interacting with the different people that came to the cafe. As I said, there were people from many different backgrounds, so it was good to step outside my comfort zone a little bit.
Brilliant, and it's obviously stood you in good stead. And obviously, you're as well as now being on the front line. You're obviously in second year of your general nursing studies out in UCD as well.
Yeah.
How was the transition? I know for some of our participants here, current participants, they're going to be transitioning from maybe secondary school into third level, and obviously that even for those, I know there's not too many doing the leaving cert. It is primarily those that are at the year before their final year exams. But any tips on that transition for the current cohort of participants in the course?
Well, I think again the course had probably helped me a little bit ease into that transition. You know, my whole life I'd gone to an all-girls primary school and a secondary school, so there was actually more boys, I think, during the course the year that I did it. So even going into college then, it wasn't as scary seeing boys in the room. Like, we gotten to know each other very well. So in terms of like opening up and communicating with everyone, it wasn't an issue. So again, I feel like if you really try with those skills in the Dermot early, you will find the college transition a lot easier. But just be very open to making new friends and join as many clubs and societies as you can, because it can be hard to make friends in college, especially if you're in a big course. Yeah. I think I was lucky in a way that the nursing splits up into small little lab groups. That's where I found my clique, but not all courses do. But just keep trying, you know, you will make friends eventually, and just be open to all options. Brilliant.
And in your busy schedule now, are you managing to keep the work-life balance, or are you able to get some exercise in, or what about your sporting life? Obviously, nearly everybody's sporting life is on pause. But have you adapted to the new?
I have adapted, yeah. I think both my camogie manager and my Gaelic football manager have been very understanding that I am working hectic hours at the moment, and that mostly night shifts is a thing, so it kind of does take the body a day or two to readjust. But I do think that getting exercise in is absolutely key and critical and crucial in keeping healthy, both physically and mentally at the moment. So definitely have to try and make time for it.
Brilliant, and hopefully everybody now can see the picture that Blannet has just shared with everybody there of Eva, both on the recognition day in Croke Park, getting your certificate, and then down in NUIG as well with your family. So listen, thanks so much for joining us this morning. A big thanks from everybody here on behalf of everybody at the GAA, Froiga, NUIG and the Early family for your contribution this morning, but also for your work on the front line. Stay safe, and we'll be in touch again, no doubt.
No problem. Thanks so much for having me this morning.
Not at all. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so I'm nearly the anxiety is starting to settle. I'm down to the last guest, and we haven't had any major technicality issues. I have to say, all I'm doing here is sitting and talking. Aoife and Blannet and our colleague Anton are keeping everything flowing smoothly behind the scenes. So a big thanks to all of them. So delighted now just to go over and have a chat with our dear friend Anne-Marie Early, representing the Early family. And lovely to have you with us this morning, Anne-Marie.
Hi, Colin. How are you? I'm delighted to be here. This is all very, very new to me. This is my first ever webinar, so I had to get a little bit of help from Anton in IT in the GA. During the week, he had to navigate me through a lot of stuff, and so did Blannet. In fairness, Blannet's put in huge amount of work into this, so I just want to say thank you to them, because as I said, this is all new to me, and IT and me don't always go very well together. So no, it's great to be here. It would be great, obviously, to be in Croke Park, but look, this is brilliant. This is a brilliant effort by everyone to get this up and running.
Oh, well, we're delighted to have you. And as a fellow Luddite, really appreciate you making your way onto this here platform as well. So Look, Anne-Marie, I think this morning that's what it's all about, just offering the opportunity to connect through whatever means we possibly can. I'm sure even the video with your dad, I'm sure it always hits the heart in a special place. And then hearing the young people talking about their own journey through this here program in your father's memory, tell us a little bit how that lands with you.
Yeah, I just, every time I go to anything to do with the Dermot Early Youth Leadership Initiative, I'm always really inspired, and I'm always really taken aback by just how capable and how brilliant the young people are who do this course and what they get out of it. I mean, you have Emer, Theo, and Rose, 15-year-olds who come on to this webinar at such ease, and they speak at such ease, and they talk about everything that they learned. They're inspiring. They really are. They didn't falter at all, and I just, we learned so much from them. The one thing that struck me is that what they learned was confidence. That how young people sometimes, not always, but sometimes can lack the confidence to stand up in front of their peers. It's a really hard thing to do. And I'm a secondary school teacher, so I know what anxiety young people have surrounding that. So when I hear that it gives young people confidence to stand up and be able to stand up in front of their peers and deliver a speech, that's really, really uplifting. It's brilliant. But also, other skills that they learn is like communication, how to be a leader. And then I suppose listening there to Orla O'Sullivan and how she inspired her colleagues to go out and work when they didn't have to. Like, that is incredible, an incredible thing to be doing during this pandemic. So I just, it hits home. It makes me very proud. It makes my family very proud. And I suppose if Dad was here today, he would be so proud of this. I just think it's an absolutely brilliant initiative. And I think that he would be beaming. He would be absolutely beaming if he was here today.
I don't think we could ask for anything more than that. And I think each time, as you said, when we get together, the overwhelming sense that I get as well is about reassurance in terms of the future generation, that we're in good hands. And I know Professor Dolan has been doing some work with UNESCO over the last number of weeks, because in media there can be a tendency maybe to suggest that younger people aren't showing some of the leadership around the social distancing, but our experience of that is to the complete contrary, and it's a bit of a lazy stereotype. And I know Dave and Sean and Sarah and Froiga have been really to the fore and giving a platform to young people to show the fantastic leadership skills that they have in this regard too. So how has the COVID-19 experience been across the Early family? Are you staying connected? Mum keeping well?
Yeah, we're staying connected through different platforms. I suppose it's an adjustment. I don't get to see my brothers and sisters as much as I would like to. We talk via WhatsApp or FaceTime or Zoom, but the distance, that's what I find the hardest. But in fairness to us, we're a tight-knit family. We're always on the WhatsApp. We're always sending pictures of the nieces and nephews. So modern technology is brilliant. We you adapt, but we're all well. I suppose on a personal level, in a way I'm enjoying the slower pace of life. There's no rush out in the morning, there's no rush in the evenings. I have two small kids, and I'm really enjoying my time with my family. I suppose I look back and I'll think I'll never get this time back with them again. And I'm really that's what I kind of look at it as a positive rather than a negative. Mum is on the phone to us every day. Mum is using FaceTime, so the kids love to talk to Nanny. So we're staying connected, but I just think it is difficult. But I suppose every cloud has a silver lining, and there are some positives, to come out of this for me and my family.
Yeah, and I think it's really important that we acknowledge the positives during this time, Also, while obviously acknowledging the challenges that it brings and the losses that so many people have suffered over the last weeks as well, as John alluded to, a lot of them across the GAA fraternity too. You touch on family, and I'm enjoying the additional time with my own little 2.5-year-old here as well. That when there is an anecdote that's often used when people are talking about your dad, about those priorities that he laid out in his life, and family was very much central to how he lived his life as well. Anne-Marie.
Yeah, like I'm one of 6. I have 3 older brothers, an older sister and a younger sister, so I'm second last. But no, family was really important to Dad. We're close. The things that he instilled in us. I suppose I just have a small story about him. And I suppose I feel like I was a very lucky person to have him in my life. And I suppose we've heard an awful lot about him being, a leader on the field, a leader off the field. But my personal memories of him obviously are as a father. And I suppose I'd like to tell you a little bit about him personally. He had a great belief obviously in young people, and I saw that from a very early age. He was always very encouraging. He always listened, and he always gave us advice, even if we didn't always like it at the time. But anyway, I remember when I was about 10 or 11. I won't tell you the year for fear of revealing my age, but it was when Dad was the manager of the Roscommon senior football team. And I have great memories of travelling west with him, in the car, for training sessions in Dr. Hyde Park. And often, I remember my younger sister Noelle joining us, and, sometimes there might have been, one of the lads joining us as well. We were so eager to help out, with water bottles. We were so eager to help out, in any way we could, and probably because we maybe fancied a few of the footballers. But anyway, our jobs were to fill the water bottles, collect the cones at the end of the training, and we were even promoted. We had to kick out the footballs at the end of the training session when the footballers were having a bit of a kick around.
Very good.
But and for me this was huge, but my little kick, would barely make the 21-yard line, and the footballers would often have to, run in to gather the ball. And I suppose I wasn't really much of a help. But he never gave out. He never complained. He told me I was supposed to keep trying, keep practicing my kicking. And I suppose on the journey home, the chats were great, and we'd often give him advice as to who he should pick for the match the following Sunday. And I suppose through his encouragement, through the trips to training, he made me feel very valued, and he made my siblings feel very valued as well. And I feel like I felt like I was a real help to him on those training sessions. And it was only when I look back that I realised that he didn't have to bring us training at all. He could have left us at home, but he didn't. He brought us, and he encouraged us, and he made us feel valued, and he he was always listening to us, and those memories have always stayed with me. And I suppose it kind of alludes to what John Moore had said earlier on, the job that he gave to the young people when he was, a principal in his school, and how that made them feel. And I suppose, for Dad giving us those, jobs when he was training with the footballers, that made me feel really tall. So I suppose, I wonder really where he much has it all, but he never complained. He always brought us when we asked to go, and they're just the memories that I remember, for me and my family. I suppose if he was here today, he'd encourage us. He'd be encouraging the participants. He'd be proud of the participants. He'd value all, and he'd say with his big strong voice, because he wouldn't be able to give you the big firm handshake that he could in current times. But he'd say, keep going, you're all doing mighty. So I suppose, family was really important, to him. And I thought we miss him. We just miss him so much. He's 10 years gone next June, so that's hard. But I suppose when I look back on all of those 10 years, and I think of all of the wonderful things that have happened, the Dermot Early Youth Leadership is right up there.
Well, Anne-Marie, that's one wonderful to hear, and hopefully, this time next May 2021, we'll be all gathering in Croke Park again to celebrate with a new flock of young leaders that will continue to inspire us to be better people and to continue learning and to better understand technology and how to, all the nuances that brings. And Anne-Marie, just again, if the final word just on behalf of the family before we wrap up this morning.
Yeah, I suppose I wanted to say that like times are difficult at the minute, and especially for young people. They haven't been able to see their friends for a long time. Schools have been shut, and I suppose maybe that would have been a great thing at the start when it happened. The novelty of being at home and out of routine of school and not seeing your friends, I suppose, has worn off. The challenges that young people face today are real. We have exams postponed, exams cancelled, friends at a distance, young love at a distance, distance learning, remote learning, and yet here we are all today receiving, they're receiving your certificates for module 1 and 2, which a lot of you would have completed module 2 online, and I think that is massive. It's a great achievement, and it's a real example of leadership. It would have been easy to stop, not continue, say, look, I can't do that now, but you didn't. You guys kept going, I just think, for your next task, for some of you who haven't done it, is your community action project at a distance, and that's a real challenge. And I think you guys have proven just, that you're well capable of completing it. And I can't wait to hear the great ideas that you guys come up with. I suppose, and as phase 1 of the government plan comes into practice next week, there is a glimmer of hope, but young people have played their part in that. And as a result, you should be really proud. And hopefully during the summer we see more of a lifting of restrictions. There's just one other group of people I want to thank, and that's the facilitators. I want to express my sincere gratitude to you for taking on this role. Your parents, you're involved in your GAA clubs, you're involved in your communities. Some of you are in college, some of you are doing exams. You don't have a lot of spare time. And because of you, like my father, you believe in our youth. And I just wanted to say, without you, this initiative wouldn't be possible at all. So the facilitators, a massive, massive thank you to you for all the time and the effort that you've put into this. Hopefully the Dermot Early Youth Leadership Initiative webinar is the first and last of its kind. I look forward to meeting you all on a fresh autumn day in October in NUI Galway, where you receive your certificates. And I can't wait to meet you face to face and listen to your experience. Until then, I'll ask you to stay safe and be well.
Fantastic, Anne-Marie. What a perfect way to round up what has been a really, really fascinating, interesting, inspiring morning, and a great way to connect through the distance that we're all keeping at the moment. I just want to, again, a final round of thank yous, obviously to Uachtaráin Cumann Class Gael, John Horn, to the National Chairperson for Foróige, Dave O'Reilly. A huge thanks and a virtual round of applause from the 100+ people that are on here this morning for Emer, Theo and Rose for their fantastic updates on their own journey during the current Dermot Early Youth Leadership Initiative. A massive thanks to Orla O'Sullivan, and not just for joining us this morning, but for your continued work on the front line and for sharing your experiences of phase 3 when you went through the Dermot Early Youth Leadership Initiative. A big shout out to the backroom team here, Aoife, Blanid and Anton. Massive thanks to Brian and Sarah and Sean over in Foróige, to Pat Dolan and his team down in NUIG. I know everybody is online here this morning, and it was just due to the number of people that we couldn't have everybody contributing this morning, but they're all sending their love and congratulations and best wishes to everybody as well. Pat Dolan is a serial hugger. So hopefully he's getting through this period okay with the absence of those. The same as Dermot Senior. I enjoyed good handshake myself, and look forward to seeing everybody and being able to, as Anne-Marie said, congratulate you one and all down in NUIG in the autumn, and just to echo Anne-Marie's sentiments as well, to stay safe. So slán agus bannacht everybody, and thanks so much for joining us this morning again, and congratulations.